Malcolm Boyden in the morning.
BBC Hereford and Worcester.
Morning, everybody. Monday morning. Beautiful. Beautiful already. It's going to be a corking week. It's August the 15th. I'm Malcolm Boyden here until 1 o'clock. Hope you're okay. Hope you had a good weekend. Today we meet Peter. You're going to love him. He's the man who's reinvented Teefax. Oh, good. Used to love Teefax. 10:38. The next item on the agenda you're going to love. Do you remember Teefax, the wonderful BBC service that gave you information on the telly? Me dad used to watch out for the racing results. We just used to stare at a blank telly for hours, waiting for the football results to come in. Teefax, we loved it. And it was discontinued in 2012. It was made redundant by the internet. And we all went, oh. Didn't we? We all went, oh. And we miss it. But if you're missing it, fear not. I've got some great news. It's making a comeback under a new name. Teefax is becoming Teefax. Just replace the C for a T. Get it? And the man behind it all is a lovely gent. He's a software engineer called Peter Kwan, and he's on the line now. Hello, Peter.
Hello, good morning, Malcolm.
Morning. Is Teefax really on its way back, thanks to you?
It's back due to popular demand.
Yeah.
I used to work at a company that made teletext equipment, and I was, of course, made redundant shortly after they shut down. But I thought that the technology was fun to work with, so I carried on working on it at home.
And what have you come up with now? How have you reinvented Teefax?
Well, there was coincidentally, at the same time that Teefax got shut down, there was a little experimenter's computer called Raspberry Pi, which happened to be ideal for generating teletext. So I wrote a system that would take our old teletext pages and turn them into a proper teletext signal that could be fed to any TV, and so you could view pages just like they used to be. So now what happened was that some artists and some people who liked nostalgia of teletext, we all got together and they started producing pages for my system, and I developed the editor to make the pages and a server to distribute the pages and the Raspberry Pi software to make it pop up on your TV.
So this is for the TV, it's not for the computer?
It's for your old TV. So if you have a clunky old heavy TV sitting in the garage, don't throw it away. You can actually get a Raspberry Pi and load our software onto it, and you can see what we're up to.
And who's writing all the news and the football results I mentioned there and the racing results, or will it be a bit different to that?
Well, the news is it's coming from the BBC. What I've done is I've written a little script that looks at the BBC website, picks the top 20 stories and turns them into BBC Teefax pages, so you can see the news just how it used to be presented.
Yeah, I can remember it now. I mean, Teefax has a very important part in our lives, doesn't it? We hold it very special, I think, to us, some people.
Well, it was what we had before the internet.
Yeah, it was.
So if you wanted to know what the latest cricket score was, that was the only way of getting it right then. You could switch a radio on and hope that somebody mentions it in the next half hour, but this was the quickest way of getting information. There were some people who had their favourite pages, their sports page where they'd follow matches ball by ball until the result. Myself, I used to check the weather before I went out.
We all did.
First thing in the morning, 4:01.
Yeah, we all 4:01 for the weather. And will your page be like that, 4:01, 1:01 and all of that sort of business? They'll each have a page number?
It's exactly the same. If you want to see today's BBC headlines, you can go to 104 and flick through them and see all the latest latest news. But that's only one small part of what we're doing. The other pages come from the enthusiasts. There's one chap who's hooked up his weather station. So if you want to know what the temperature is in his living room in Bedford, you can see it right now. There are a lot of artists who are putting together pages. Some are art, some are humour. Some people are writing their stories on there.
The only problem is if it's just for old television sets, and bearing in mind we do have the internet now, there ain't going to be that many people using it. What are you aiming for in terms of an audience?
Well, yes, there are very few people at the moment. What we have done is we have set up a teletext festival in Cambridge in October, and I didn't think they'd be able to sell any tickets at all for it.
Oh.
So I thought, who would want to go to that? Yeah. But they all sold out in a week. So we are getting our system ready primarily for that, so we can show off what we do.
Well, they did say that old records, vinyl, would never come back, and that's come back. All I need is an old telly, but how old does the telly have to be? Is it one of those brown boxes with a big back end?
Definitely not. If it's been made from the middle of the 80s onwards, it will be fine. I think even some of the newer televisions that were only sold a few years ago, they will be compatible as well.
Okay.
So in fact, the newer the TV is, the more features you'll have. One feature that we're quite excited about is orange, because you couldn't get that on the BBC. They didn't transmit it. It was a part of a newer standard that the BBC never upgraded to, but we're upgrading, so if you have a new TV, you can actually get some orange colours and more shades of blue.
If any of our listeners want to know more about your Teefax, what should they do next?
Our central place is on Facebook. That's where we do most of our discussions. And if you go to Teefax, that's Ceefax with a T, there's a group there, a public page, and you can follow that and get in contact with the people and find out where to download the software from.
Well, may I say on behalf of my listeners, thank you for bringing Ceefax back, Peter, and good luck with it. We wish you well.
Yes, thanks a lot. Thanks for the interview.
Not at all. Thank you for coming on.
Been getting a lot of interest.
I'm sure it has, and I'm sure it will get even more now. That's Peter Kwan, and he is the inventor. He's the man who's reinvented Ceefax. He's made it Teefax. It's just the same, only there are contributors that put up their own pages, and you can be part of the new Teefax family. Do you think it'll catch on? Just by visiting them on Facebook. 11:15.